After the Snow White thing, I'm gonna be honest, I will be shocked if she gets cast in almost anything.
What is it like for you now, having all of this? I think it's a lot of pressure, right?
It's definitely a lot of pressure, but I surround myself with very good people who keep me grounded and try to just stay as true to myself as I possibly can.
2.3 million dislikes. Imagine having that much of a dedicated hater base. That's insane. She couldn't keep her mouth shut.
Disney made a decision but never announced it. No trailer, no poster, no countdown, no red carpet premiere. After nearly 2 years of hype, controversy, and relentless damage control, Snow White simply vanished. The highly anticipated remake, once billed as a Disney Plus centerpiece, disappeared without a word. No global push, no marketing rollout, no fanfare now. Insiders are whispering it wasn't a delay, it was a quiet cancellation. The original release date came and went, and Disney said nothing, not even a tweet. Why the silence? Because of one name Disney no longer dares to defend: Rachel Zegler.
And it's lonely. It's very lonely. I just know that if that loneliness can exist, so can other things, and I will be okay. Maybe that's a weird takeaway. Regardless, this is not supposed to be anything other than insightful entertainment. It's what I do best. Just know that I am the most grateful person alive. But I'm also keeping it real.
Rachel Zegler was already one of the most controversial casting choices in Disney's history, but after the Evita meltdown in London, studio executives reportedly hit their breaking point. Multiple sources close to Disney say the company is now terrified of reigniting Backlash by putting Rachel back in the spotlight even on streaming. One insider went so far as to call her a ticking part-time bomb. With Zegler still trending for all the wrong reasons, backstage screaming matches, cast walkouts, and even a $50 million lawsuit against her own agent, Disney quietly pulled the plug. For the studio, the risk was no longer worth it.
Now, fans are growing more concerned about Disney's new Snow White remake, mostly because of what the lead actress has been saying to the press. Rachel Zegler has been described as a walking PR disaster for Disney's. We've heard her bag the classic story before, but there's more.
Disney didn't just delay the release, they buried it. To them, Snow White wasn't a fairy tale anymore. It had become a brand liability. But that wasn't the whole story, because the real reason Disney pulled the plug runs much deeper. It all began when Rachel Zegler showed the world she hadn't changed not one bit.
Okay, great. I'm honored. I don't know why I sound so angry right now. I'm honored. Am I a psychopath? No, I've been getting a lot of questions about how do I feel? I feel amazing. We start kind of soon, and I'm just like...
Long before Evita collapsed and well before the lawsuit headlines began flying, Rachel Zegler's image was already in critical condition. That it started with the interviews. When the first trailers for Snow White dropped, fans expected Disney magic. What they got was something else entirely. Rachel publicly mocked the original film, calling it weird, creepy, and dated. She dismissed the classic prince as a stalker, claimed the story was being rewritten to reflect modern values, and declared that Snow White didn't need saving anymore. The internet exploded, and not in a good way.
You know that you've told me before that your version of Snow White is different, and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird. So we didn't do that this time.
Audiences weren't just upset, they were offended. Decades of love for a timeless story, dismissed with a smirk. But it didn't stop there. Red carpet clips began going viral not for the fashion, but for Rachel's tone, sarcastic, dismissive, cold. The actress once hailed as Spielberg's breakout star, now came across as someone above it, arrogant, entitled. Even longtime supporters began to pull back. The charm was gone, and in its place, something far harder to defend.
The cartoon was made 85 years ago, and therefore it's extremely dated when it comes to the ideas of women being in roles of power and what a woman is fit for in the world. And so when we came to reimagining the actual role of Snow White, it became about the fairest of them all, meaning who is the most just and who can become a fantastic leader. And the reality is, you know, Snow White has to learn a lot of lessons about coming into her own power before she can come into power over a kingdom.
She was accused of being ungrateful online and completely out of touch with the Disney audience, the very people she was supposed to win over. And behind the scenes, things weren't any better. Multiple sources from earlier productions described her as difficult to direct, hyper-controlling, and frequently clashing with senior crew members. Still, Disney pushed forward. They hoped the controversy would die down, that with the right PR campaign, both the film and Rachel could be salvaged. But the drama didn't fade, it only got worse.
I never want it to come off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities I have when I say that this has been the biggest adjustment of my life. Like, understanding the way my life operates now, being who I am, and the things that I've been so fortunate to make. It comes with so much ground. So much ground that I never thought I would be able to cover, and that people think I'm doing poorly, and other people think I'm doing gracefully, and I don't think I'm doing it at all.
If Rachel Zegler's reputation was already hanging by a thread, Evita didn't just cut it set it on fire. The West End production was meant to be her redemption arc. Chance to step away from the backlash and prove she could command the stage with elegance, discipline, and grace. But what unfolded behind the scenes wasn't just messy, it was catastrophic.
Be normal. Normal things are happening. How are you, my dear?
What a pleasure. Nice to see you again.
Hi, nice to meet you, James.
Great to see you. Michael Harrison, other producer. And of course, Andrew.
Have you met Jimmy Lloyd? No, what does he do? Didn't I ask him? What do you do?
I just do my best.
That's the best I've ever seen it. Can't wait to see you in the Palladium. My favourite theatre anywhere, actually. Oh, you're a fantastic cast. It's going to be a sensation, I know it. Thank you, everybody.
Amazing.
Reports began surfacing just weeks into rehearsals, whispers of tension, walkouts and chaos behind closed doors. Crew members allegedly quit mid-run. One source claimed Rachel screamed at a lighting operator for missing her cue. Another said she refused to rehearse scenes that didn't align with her vision of the show. Then came the leaks. Private rehearsal notes. Anonymous testimonials from cast and staff. One alleged email described the environment as hostile, calling Zegler's presence unsustainable for the production. For many it was déjà vu.
So she said she was scared of the original cartoon, watched it once and never picked it up again. She should have watched it a few times and maybe became more familiar with the story. And before the script went through such a dramatic change that it sounds like she had a part in, Disney, an accomplice with that. Obviously, it was their production. You should have, watched it a little closely and maybe stayed a little closer to the original blockbuster, wonderful story written by whoever it was, but produced by Disney.
The silent collapse of Snow White, how Rachel Zegler went from rising star to risk factor and took a Disney fairy tale. With her, Disney didn't delay Snow White. They buried it. No trailer, no poster, no premiere, no explanation. After 2 years of controversy, damage control, and heated fan debates, the studio went quiet. The release date came and went without even a tweet. Insiders now say the unspoken truth is this: Snow White wasn't postponed, it was pulled. And at the center of that decision is the one named Disney no longer dares to defend Rachel Zegler, a PR nightmare in real time. Zegler was once hailed as Hollywood's next big thing. Spielberg's West Side Story breakout, a Gen Z Cinderella. But long before lawsuits and backstage meltdowns, her image was already unraveling. It started with the interviews. When the first Snow White teasers dropped, fans expected Disney magic. Instead, they got mockery. Zegler called the original weird, creepy, and outdated. She labeled the prince a stalker and said Snow White didn't need saving. The internet exploded on, not in a good way. The red carpet clips didn't help. Sarcastic, dismissive, cold. She came across as entitled, arrogant even. Audiences who once supported her began to turn. And behind the scenes, the reports were worse. Trouble on every set. Sources from previous productions described her as difficult to direct, hyper-controlling, and frequently in conflict with senior crew. Still, Disney pressed on, hoping time and PR might mend the narrative. It didn't. Single quotes T. Then came Evita, the supposed redemption arc, a live West End production meant to showcase her discipline and talent. Instead, it imploded. Reports emerged just weeks into rehearsals, walkouts, screaming matches, and crew quitting mid-run. Zegler allegedly berated a lighting tech over a missed cue, refused to rehearse scenes unless they followed her vision, and fostered a hostile work environment. Private emails leaked. Cast and crew called her presence unsustainable. It was déjà vu. The final straw internally, Evita, was the moment Disney began to panic. Executives reportedly held emergency meetings, not because Snow White wasn't ready but because another Zegler headline could destroy it, and so, the release date passed. Quietly, no statement, no delay announcement, just silence. Sources say it wasn't a glitch, it was strategy. A Disney Plus insider claimed the film was scrubbed from the internal release calendar with one note: hold indefinitely, pending talent resolution. Translation: not until the Rachel Zegler problem is resolved. Fallout inside the castle. Executives now fear that releasing Snow White would do more harm than good. One insider said, every time she trends, it's bad. Every clip is a PR grenade. Worse still, the studio is reportedly haunted by the question, did we know how bad this would get? The solution: silence. Marketing paused. Press tours scrapped. Staff quietly redirected to other projects. Internally, some execs are now pushing for drastic options. A re-edit to reduce Zegler's role or even shelving the film. Permanently millions spent. A leading star who can't do press. A movie no one wants to promote, and an audience that's already walked away. The internet responds. It didn't take long for fans to notice. Reddit threads, TikTok theories, Twitter speculation. One viral post read, Disney watched the Evita meltdown and said, never mind. Some celebrated the move, calling it overdue. Others blamed Disney for casting her in the first place. A few loyal fans accused the studio of abandoning her, but the majority simply asked, why is Disney pretending nothing happened? Leaked memos haven't helped. One from a Disney Plus marketing manager reportedly called the situation unsalvageable. Another revealed new contract clauses for talent conduct, clear signs that Zegler's public spiral has spooked more than just PR. The silence that speaks volumes. And Rachel, she stayed silent, no apology, no clarification, just cryptic posts, lawsuits, and vanished opportunities. Hollywood is listening but not with offers. Casting directors are reportedly removing her from shortlists. A streaming platform allegedly dropped her from a lead role. Even brand partnerships have dried up. No beauty deals, no magazine covers, no fashion campaigns. Because Zegler isn't seen as a rising star anymore, she's seen as a risk. The tragic arc of a would-be icon. Rachel Zegler wasn't supposed to be here. She was the future of Hollywood, winning awards before her first film was even released. A modern Cinderella story. Now, she's the face of a film Disney doesn't want to talk about, and a cautionary tale about what happens when ego overtakes grace. The saddest part, she still thinks she's the victim. Is there a way back? Hollywood loves a comeback, but they require three things: silence, accountability, and time. So far, Rachel's given us none of them. Instead of rebuilding trust, she's burned more bridges. Instead of humility, she's doubled down. And now even her fans are asking the hard question: how do you derail two careers in 1 year? Because this isn't just about a role lost, it's about trust lost. And in an industry where perception is everything, that's the one thing you can't afford to lose.